Namaste, good morning. I thought since it's coming up on Christmas rapidly that I might do a little bit of speaking on Christianity. Okay? Again, before, when I go to give a talk, I have nothing planned at all. I don't sit down and do a study about it whatsoever. I have no idea what's going to come forward. It's always a surprise to me as well. So let's see what comes forward today on Christianity. Okay, we're going to look at Christianity. Now, in the beginning was the Old Testament. During Old Testament times, they had various rules, regulations, etc. During that time, they had the temples, and they were doing a lot of the rituals, a lot of the sacrifices, the burnt offerings, etc. That you would bring so much of if you were a farmer, you'd bring so much of your production, to the temples, etc. You would do your tithing. Tithing was in place during that time as well. Okay. So anyway, when you had the temples, the only one that was allowed to go into the Holy of Holies was the high priest. And when the high priest would get ready to go into the Holy of Holies, they would tie a rope around his ankle, just in case he happened to drop dead. He had done some sin, whatever, and he would drop dead in the Holy of Holies because nobody else could go in the Holy of Holies but the high priest, okay? So if he dropped dead, you couldn't just go in and retrieve the body. So they would pull him out with this rope they had tied around his ankle, okay? So anyway, whatever happened to the Ark of the Covenant that was in the Holy of Holies, nobody knows what has happened to it. It's gotten lost in history, okay? So the temple system wound up being done away with after a time. And what happened was Christ came into the picture. Now, most of the Jewish people do not recognize Christ as the Savior or as the one coming forward to aid humanity. And there's a very interesting verse in the Old Testament that points to him, that says he was poured out like melted wax and all of his bones were put out of joint, etc. It's got this very graphic rendering of what took place with him on the cross, etc., that is in the Old Testament as a pointing. Anyway, then there are Jews that do recognize Christ, and they do have a Jews for Christ organization, etc. Anyway, Christ came into the picture. And as everyone knows, was the son of a carpenter, was supposed to have been born in this miraculous birth. Anyway, he came in as a reformer. He said, I didn't come to do away with the law, I came to fulfill the law. Not one iota of the law, not one jot, not one tittle will pass away. The law is in effect, and it will remain in effect, okay? But he came as a reformer, okay, to get rid of some of the archaic things that were being done at that time, to bring more understanding that it wasn't about the law, just the law, It was also to do with the intent. Okay, so one of the very important things, and I think it's one of the most important things in the Bible, is not, because you get a lot of the Christians that say, I'm born of the blood, and if you're not born of the blood, you're going to go to hell, and, yada, 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 all the things they say. Well, again, it's not just by faith. They say, I have faith, but faith they also say, the Bible also says faith without works is dead. If you have this faith, then you're going to be doing things according to the faith. And what is said there, I judge not only the actions, but the heart and the mind behind the actions. It's not just what you're doing. The letter of the law is not going to get you by. It's the intent. What is the reason that you're doing what you're doing? Okay? You might be able to say, but I found a loophole. There are no loopholes. There are no loopholes, okay? Again, if you get to realization and you are experiencing and you understand what is God, and again, then the Bible says, none that see the face of the Father will live. That's true. What you think you are, that ego self, dies in that moment, and then one is resurrected into the truth of what that being is, okay? That spirit, that absolute, that pregnant void, that which is the life behind all life, okay? So one understands that. Anyway, Christ came, and again, he was there, and all of his apostles were mainly fishermen. Okay, a lot of them were fishermen, and a lot of them were, parts of society, not the high parts of society. Okay. So anyway, he said, "Come, and I will make you fishers of men. I'm going to show you how to attract the people and how to give them this wisdom." Now, I see people that try to bring out verses and try to make a case for vegetarianism in the Christian church as well. Well, Christ, if you remember right, he would miraculously, they would have the fishes and the loaves, and there would be enough for all of these people. He started giving them out. Why is he giving out fish if you have to be a vegetarian? Okay. And during his talks, when he would wander around, sometimes he would have to leave the people and go up in the mountains by himself for a while, and he'd just go, how long do I have to suffer this generation? Really? These people, I want to give them the best that I can give them, and all they want are the miracles. Give me fishes, give me this food, give me this, give me that, heal me, do this, do that, do this, do that, but they're not getting the import of what I'm saying. So every once in a while, even he had to go away into the mountains and get away from the people for a time, because they would just flock and want the things of ego, rather than hearing the message that he was trying to tell them. What I am, you are. What I can do, you can do, and even more so, because I go to the Father that sent me. If you have seen me, you have seen the Father that sent me. So he was trying to impart this wisdom to them. Okay? He would be up on the hill and give the sermon, very famous sermon on the Mount. And telling them, whatever you've done to me, you've done to the least of these, whatever you've done to them, you've done to me directly. Same thing, we're all one, it's all connected. Whatever you do to that one, you've done to me as well. We're all one. He kept trying to bring this message to people, So anyway, there are so many mistaken notions, prosperity teachings now. Yes, the Bible does say, that if you give your tithe, your 10% of your tithe, that you will be blessed for that. You should give back, to your community, give back to your teachers, give back to that. That's part of it, reward those that are feeding you, etc. But there's nothing in there that says about prosperity, that everybody's there to be rich. There's nothing in there that says about that. Absolutely not. It says if you have the faith to believe, whatever it is that you believe can be manifest. Yes, that can happen as well. Manifesting being healing. He also said, though, that those that were doing healing and doing all these other things and casting out demons and all of that type of thing, doing all this manifesting of all these powers, etc., and they come to go to heaven, and they come to him and says, go away from me. I don't know you. I've never known who you are. But we did all these things in your name. It doesn't matter. You don't know me. They were doing it not from the right intent. They were doing it from the wrong intents, because you can't fool God. You can't fool, the universe. What is the intent behind your actions, okay? Okay. So keep your actions, keep your intent, always going forward in the right way, not out of hate, not out of any of these things, not out of personal powers, look what I can do, not out of egocentric type of things, okay? You give what you can give to humanity, you do what you can do for humanity, and continue to aid them, stand up for truth, stand up for righteousness. Righteousness is right action, right thinking, okay, righteousness. Continue to put that into your life, okay? And then anybody on a spiritual path, like Christ said, come follow me, follow me. Didn't say just believe in me. He said, follow me. The actions that I am doing, you will do. Those types of actions. Understand what I'm here for, understand my message, and then follow me. Okay. So if you're going to be a Christian, you should be a follower of Christ. You should be a follower of Christ, okay? And do what he was doing and understand the message he was trying to impart at that time, okay? So that's very important to understand what it was he was trying to impart, what he was trying to say, what he was trying to stress, and the direction that he is giving to humanity. Okay, very, very important. Okay, so if we're going to understand Christianity, it's all about, that one should be doing righteous actions, have faith in God, know that life is eternal in nature, okay, and there's nothing to fear. One of his big messages was fear not. There's nothing to fear for those that are following a path of righteousness, right thinking, right action. There's nothing for you to fear in life, and that if you have faith the size of a grain of a mustard seed, you can call into aspect something, and it can take place anyway. But your faith has to be absolutely 100% knowing in absolutely without one iota of disbelief. Okay. So again, Christianity is a wonderful religion as well. If you get beyond the dogmas, I think every religious persuasion has its dogmas and man-made identifications with it, which wind up skewing it and taking it in a direction that is not beneficial. Okay, so hopefully you leave the dogma behind and you just go to the straight spirituality behind it. Know that Christ showed the direction. It was never easy. Okay, the path of Christ is not an easy path to walk. It's be ready to put a lot of self-sacrifice in, and one always not my will but thy will be done, O Lord. You know, that's one of the things. You continue to surrender, surrender, surrender. Okay, and have faith and know that things will work out, and you continue to surrender. It's a path of surrender. Okay, a path of putting God first, and know that God's got everything in control. Okay, God has His control, and that we don't need to try to attempt to control everything, because the natural laws of God are in effect and will continue to take care of the planet if we get ourselves out of the way. Okay, karma is in effect. Okay, it's a law. It's not going anywhere. Okay, so again, just be happy that we understand that life is eternal. God gives us this life, gives the opportunity for all these experiences to happen, and that one should have a life of righteousness, right actions, right thoughts, okay, and put God first, get the ego out of the way. Okay, that's kind of it, Christianity in a nutshell. Okay. And again, there's nothing in the Bible that says anything about vegetarianism. For those Christians that keep trying to wrangle verses in a skewed way to make it out to be something that it's not. It's, you know. So again, we will leave that here. Just come in, you know, if you ask God very sincerely from the bottom of your heart, in all sincerity, to know God, to have wisdom, and to open these truths to you, they will be opened. But don't expect it to come in a way that you think it should come, because you're going to be very surprised at what takes place. It's not the yellow brick road to Oz, okay? And God is not a big Santa Claus, you know, with all the goodies to hand out. You will have some very difficult lessons in life. You know, it's a learning process, you know, but in the end, one is rewarded mightily, and understands really what God is, what God's not, the eternal nature of being, okay, and liberated from all the garbage and the drama that they had before in life. Liberation comes, okay, and it's well worth the walk. Whether you pick a traditional path such as Christianity and you live the life of one that's as a contemplative, okay, one that's involved in the mysteries and the contemplative nature of Christianity, or whether you're one that goes through other aspects, and we'll talk about that again another time, of Hinduism. And again, in Hinduism, there's so many different factions and types, all the way from, you know, seeing these gods and goddesses as each a different representation and as an absolute physical aspect that one prays to seeing them as, like I said in this path, as different energies. Okay, you could go from the very solid to the very ethereal and the more what's the word? Not holistic. What's the word I want to use? Well, that word's escaping me now. But the more ethereal type of a thing. This path here happens to be a path of contemplation, meditation. We're not doing pujas. We're not doing these outer things and praying to God, give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. No, the path here is about getting to self-realization, to get beyond all the images and the dramas and the ego-centered things that most people in Divida Mind are after. It's about going beyond Divida Mind on this path to enter into Advaita, where all has deconstructed into that singular is of that divine consciousness of the absolute. Okay? We're not here to create better self-egos, to be a co-creator. We are here to understand and to become that drop that enters into the ocean of the great creator, and we let that creator continue to do what they do, as the wisdom that because it has all inherent wisdom, okay? and we're just kind of along for the ride anyway. So I will close this out for now because I think I'm starting to ramble here a bit. Anyway, namaste. Have a great day, everyone, and happy holidays. Bye.